wait for 2-3 minutes, I think. People are being admitted. Good evening and very warm welcome to all the participants at this 25th ITF RRC, which is held virtually. Respected President of the Institute, C.A. Niharbai Jambusaria, Chairman of the International Taxation Committee, Dr. C.A. Mayurbai Nayak, Vice President Mihirbai, respected seniors on the virtual dais, as well as amongst participants at this Silver Jubilee ITF RRC and other fellow participants. I feel blessed that it is during my tenure as President at BCAS that the Silver Jubilee of ITF RRC is being held in virtual mode. It would have been a great occasion to meet all the participants personally during this landmark event for BCAS and its International Taxation Committee. However, I am sure we all have taken virtual meets in our stride and do accept the same as the new norm. The level to which RRC has risen is phenomenal, with very exhaustive coverage and discussion on the topics of relevance. Another aspect, which is icing on the cake for this 25th ITF RRC, is the keynote address by one of the main proponents of corporate governance and one of the founders of Infosys, Mr. Narayana Murthy. We also have the privilege of address by the President of ICAI, C.A. Niharbai Jambusaria. He is working relentlessly for the profession and he himself is an expert on international tax. From the list of participants, I can see that there are many stalwarts of international tax who are attending this RRC, as would have been the case in earlier 24 versions of RRC. This itself portrays the BCAS ITF RRC's prominence for imparting learnings on the most relevant topics in this arena of taxation. As the President of BCAS, when I look at the statistics of the participants, it is heartening to know that we have a total of 466 delegates attending this RRC. Again, out of this, 97 are non-members. There is a lot to be achieved on gender diversity, since only 14% of the delegates are female with a count of 67. The mix of delegates from Mumbai and from other parts of the country is almost equal, with 235 participating from outside Mumbai vis-a-vis 231 from Mumbai. Countrywide representation is from 36 different cities and towns pan-India. Further, the growing relevance of international tax can be gauged from the fact that 161 delegates, that is 35%, are from the age group of 25 to 40. I take this opportunity to wish these young delegates on International Youth Day, which is celebrated today. It is noteworthy that BCAS has this ITF RRC commencing on International Youth Day with such active participation from youth, which has always been promoted by BCAS as Yuva Shakti. Now I turn to informing in brief the activities of BCAS to those who are first-timers and non-members. From the format, the content already shared for group discussions as well as for presentation papers, and the choice of faculty, one would have realized the passionate manner of imparting and disseminating knowledge, which continues round the year at BCAS through its 10 super active committees. BCAS has a membership strength of more than 8,500, and we are striving to achieve the magical figure of 10,000. It is with the support of such non-members who are CAs that we shall be reaching the milestone. I urge the non-members to become active members, thereby becoming loyal BCASians with advantages of participating in the overall professional grooming that happens at BCAS. To cater to the youth and tech-savvy professionals, BCAS has increased its presence on all social media platforms by disseminating information and knowledge. Currently, there are combined 46,250 social media followers on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. The highest followers, being 19 to 20, are on YouTube, which is visited for viewing all the videos uploaded relating to the lectures by prominent professionals on various topics. You all will be provided the glimpses of the journey of 25 glorious years of ITF RRC by the chairman of the committee, as well as seniors who have nurtured and pioneered this concept of extensive and in-depth learning of international tax. Lastly, I would like to inform you all that though I am associated with BCS since past 30 years, this is my first presence at ITF RRC. I have always admired the level of knowledge sharing at ITF RRCs, but as my core area of expertise is assurance service and company law, I have never ventured to learn the nuances of international tax. However, this year as president, I got this opportunity to interact with international tax experts and enthusiasts. I wish you all excellent 4 days of learning and sharing of knowledge with pleasant memories of 25th ITF RRC to cherish for life. Now I hand over the proceedings to the chairman, Dr. C. Mayurbhai. Thank you.
Thank you, President Abhay Mehta. President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, CA Nihar Jambusaria. President of the Bombay Chartered Accountants Society, CA Abhay Mehta. Vice President, CA Mihir Sheth. Past President, respected CA Shri Dilip J. Thakkar. Conference Directors, Abbas, Mahesh, Datubai, Conveners Rutvik, Siddharth, my ex-convener Rajesh P. Shah, and the esteemed paper writer CA Padamchand Kincha, CA Rashmin Sanghvi, and other valued guests and participants. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the Silver Jubilee ITF conference held virtually. Friends, when an event occurs, a few takes note of it at that time, but at a later date, the same event becomes historical. And today, one such event is taking place. Aren't you lucky to be part of it? 25 years is a long period in life of mortals. Yet, many of us are fortunate to witness and travel this journey together. My memory goes back to the first ITF conference in 1997 at Manas Resort, Igatpuri, Maharashtra. We began this conference to celebrate 10 years of studies of international taxation at the Bombay Chartered Accountants Society. It was first ever conference, perhaps in India, which was dedicated to the subjects of international taxation. I distinctly remember it was 15th of August, and we began our conference post flag hoisting. Sri Dilip J. Thakkar hoisted the flag at that venue, Manas Resort. And what a coincidence, this year we are celebrating 75th year Amrit Mahotsav of our freedom and 25th year Rajatsotsava of ITF conference. It is indeed a nice coincidence. Friends, over the period of time, the conference has not only grown in size and stature, but also in the level of deliberations. Best of experts from the CA and legal fraternity, industry experts, CFOs, CEOs, industrialists, members from judiciary, revenue officials, and other luminaries have graced this conference year after year and shared their valuable knowledge and experience. ITF conference has been instrumental in shaping and training future leaders with good mix of seniors and juniors participating enthusiastically. It has also provided thought leadership to the profession and the tax arena with high level of deliberations of issues by experts. Friends, first 23 conferences were held at exotic locations, including an overseas conference at Sri Lanka. However, last year, as we are all aware, due to pandemic, we couldn't have a physical conference. And we had a successful online conference on Zoom platform, recording 360 participants. It was a record from India and abroad. This year, the conference is celebrating its silver jubilee and has clocked another high with 467 participants, plus number of faculty members and valued guests, the total touching to almost 500. Unfortunately, pandemic is still on, and therefore even this conference is held virtually. We would be missing the charm of physical conference, but we have an advantage of worldwide participation. Coming to the conference, friends, significant developments have happened in the tax arena in the past 1 year, domestically as well as globally. This year's conference papers, presentations, and panel discussions are planned to capture these developments and other important aspects of the international taxation. Let me take you through some of the special features of this Silver Jubilee Conference. As I said, first and foremost, it has a record participation of almost 500 delegates and faculties. We have amidst us the President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India attending this conference and addressing us and blessing this conference for the first time. We thank CA Niyar Jambusaria for this honor. We are fortunate to have Padma Vibhushan Narayana Murthy, who will be delivering keynote address in a short while from now on the role of culture in improving governance in a company. I am reminded of a BCS culture which has contributed a lot in not only the technical subjects, but also in grooming and shaping the careers of young professionals. We have a fireside chat by Advocate Mukesh Putani with Mr. Pascal Saint Amnas. He's a Director, Center for Tax and Policy Administrations, OECD. We have a participation by Mr. Carlos Proto, who is a Director of International Taxation in Ministry of Finance, Argentina. We have a participation from two senior IRS officials as panelists, namely Mr. Rajat Bansal, who is a Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, and Mr. Kamlesh Varshney, who is a Joint Secretary, TPL. We have Vice President of the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, Mr. Pramod Kumar, who will be gracing the panel discussion along with Senior Advocate Ajay Bora. Not only that, I am really happy to inform you all that Pinakin Bhai would be presenting his 11th paper at the ITF conference, and he wrote the paper at the first conference as well. So is Padam Chand Kincha would be writing 11th paper. We have Gautam Doshi would be presenting 11th paper at this ITF conference. We have Mr. T.P. Oswan would be participating and sharing his knowledge 17th time at this ITF conference. We have Mr. Pranav Saita, CA Pranav Saita, who would be presenting and a paper and sharing his knowledge 14th time at the ITF conference. Friends, we are really fortunate to have a dedicated team of volunteers who have worked very hard to put this conference in place, and I must express the sincere gratitude and appreciation to two young conference directors, Mr. C.A. Abbas Jawarawala and C.A. Mahesh Nayak, ably supported by ever dynamic conveners Ritvik Sanghvi, Siddharth Banwat, and other committee members Ganesh, Tarun Kumar Singhal, Anil Doshi, Natubai, Rajesh P. Shah, Jagat Mehta, and many others. We are really fortunate to have a team of volunteers who have contributed in various aspects. There are contributors who have written case studies, who have given the analysis of those case studies and helped panelists. Several group leaders who have volunteered. This time we have almost 8 groups, and finding those leaders was not an easy task, but people have volunteered. So we are thankful to all of them, all the faculty members, all the paper writers present here. We have Anup Shah, who has agreed at the last moment to talk on the FEMA and tax aspects of startups. We have Siddharth Shah, who would be speaking to us shortly on the gift city. And Gautam Doshi would be speaking to us on the structuring of trust. And we also have a special address by Sir Rashmin Sangvi, who would be guiding the young professionals on the future of international tax practice and the global economy. Friends, we have arranged a special session to remember the journey of 25 years on 15th of August at 5:45 in the evening to 7 o'clock. I request all of you to attend that session. It would be a very interesting journey, and where all the coordinators and the past chairmen will be sharing their interesting stories of the conference. We are also thankful to CA Yogesh Thar, who would be enlightening us on the paper on personal taxation. So friends, we have an excellent presentations, papers, panel discussions, which would take us through the details or depth of the subjects on international taxation. I again welcome all of you and wish you a happy learning. Thank you very much. And now I have an excellent task of introducing our own member, a life member of our society, who has taken up BCS membership along with the ICAI membership, and today is occupying the highest ever chair in our profession as a president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, a dear friend of mine. Friends, please welcome CA Nihar Jambusaria. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayur Bhai. Good evening, everybody. The president of the Bombay Chartered Accountants Society and my friend for many years, Bhai Mehta, vice president of the BCS, CM Mihir Bhai, very respected CA Dilip Bhai Thakkar, Rasmin Bhai, Padamchand Khincha ji, Rutvik Natu Bhai, and many other friends. I don't know whose name I will speak and whose I will miss. So thank you for this opportunity of giving the opportunity of being the part of the inaugural session of the Silver Jubilee ITF of the BCS. Friends, let me inform you that in the past, I have participated in the ITF conferences 3 times. And I have seen what is the quality of deliberations, what is the quality of subjects, speakers, and paper writers. It goes without saying that BCS has made this landmark conference an yearly event for many chartered accountants who without fail attend the conference. I remember in the beginning when I used to attend these conferences were always residential conferences, but for these 2 years, last year and this year. And it started in the initial stages with a few members attending it. And today, I do not know if it had been a residential conference, perhaps you would have denied entry to many. But since it is virtual, you could accommodate so many participants, and it is their good luck. The pandemic is dangerous and bad for the country and the world. But I think in terms of knowledge sharing, in terms of changing our way of working, radical changes have been brought about by the pandemic. And it is only because of this pandemic that many chartered accountants probably could be accommodated in this conference. I saw these subjects: gift city, controversial issues arising out of tax treaties, family trusts, transfer pricing, digital economy, startups. What kind of subjects are included, and who would not be really tempted and lured to attend this conference? Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend because of the prior commitment, but this is one opportunity which one would miss. I see these same stalwarts who are contributing for so many years: Pinakin Bhai, Gautam Bhai, Pranav Bhai, Padamchand Khinchaji, Rashmin Bhai, and they are still contributing for the benefit of chartered accountants and particularly juniors. At this conference, particularly if I share my experience, although I have done diploma course in international tax, I have done many other courses, certificate courses, but when you attend this conference and participate in group discussion, many times many of your concepts become clear at that stage. I remember once I was a group leader and how many days I had prepared for that subject. And I remember that joy of rushing to the paper writer after the discussion is over to report about the views of the group. So all these are the memories of the past. I hope after the pandemic, all this will return. And by the time I lay down my office as president, again, the situation will be normal and I will be able to attend physical conferences. Even if it is virtual, then also it will be an opportunity to attend these conferences in the future. Today, thank you so much for inviting me. At the Institute, we are aware of the quality of this conference, and many times among the council members, we have occasion to discuss about how these ITF conferences are conducted. So once again, thank you, and my best wishes to all the participants. I am sure they will have great value add at the end of 4 days when the conference is over. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nearby, for your encouraging words for the conference. And friends, as I said in the beginning, there are many people who have contributed generously, in the success of this conference. And one of such person or one name comes to my mind is Mr. C. Rashmin Sanghvi, who had a vision, and we started the studying international taxation, and the ITF group was formed on 6th April 1990. The object of the group was to study the international subjects and come up with the solutions. Luckily, India opened up its economy in 1991, and therefore the study of international tax was expedited. Being one of the founding members and the person who has encouraged us to start this conference, I would request C.A. Rashmin Sanghvi to bless us with his opening remarks.
Thank you, Mayur Bhai. Respected Dilip Bhai Thakkar, dear Nihar Bhai, and all friends in the conference. I remember, and this is a good time to remember again, the year 1987, when at Bombay Chartered Accountants Society, we started discussing and studying international taxation. Initially, we were all doubtful because at that time, I remember there were less than 5 persons who were practicing international taxation and para in those times. Okay. At that stage, when we started studying international taxation, there were lots of doubts. But BCA is a very sound platform to study anything new, and our studies became regular. By 1990, it became a full-fledged study circle, and Dilip Bhai's contribution was the greatest contribution. I was the convener, Dilip Bhai was the chairman, and the way he blessed us, the way he motivated us, it is just unique. For my lifetime, I will remain indebted to Dilip Bhai Thakkar. He has been a fantastic leader. So from 87 to 2021, over 35 years, from a small number of less than 5 people in India practicing international tax, today we don't even know how many experts are there. We can't count. There may be more than 1,000 persons who are really good in international taxation. And we should also remember that there is a large number of tax commissioners who are having international class knowledge. They can beat anybody. Their knowledge is so sound. So together, India is growing in this field of international taxation. As far as FERA was replaced by FEMA. The less said, the better about FEMA. FEMA should have been scrapped 20 years back, but it continues. And as long as the law continues, we will continue studying it. We started as myself as convener and with a small study circle. Then Mayur Bhai became the convener and the study circle really acquired its wings. Mayur Bhai held the first RRC in 1997, and since then, RRCs have become a world-class center, world-class platform for studying international taxation. Bombay Chartered Accountants Society as a mother body has provided similar thought leaders in several groups, but in international taxation ITF group, now I think we have a lot of thought leaders who can look into vision, who can look into future, who can plan for future and grow the whole profession together. My best wishes to this 25th conference of RRC. My best wishes to ITF. God bless ITF. God bless our society BCAS and every member in this profession who will acquire expertise under the able guidance of Mayur Bhai. Thank you.
Mayur Bhai, you are on mute.
Sorry. Thank you, Rashmin Bhai. You are being modest. I remember that you used to tell us that it is your dream to see 100 chartered accountants as expert on international taxation. I'm sure you would be happy to see more than 1,000 at least, I can say, chartered accountants who are expert on the subject. Thank you for providing us this vision and the leadership. Friends, as I mentioned, we have a young and dynamic conference directors and the team members, and today is International Youth Day. So I congratulate all the youth, youngsters by age and by heart. Okay, so I consider myself as a young. So congratulations to all of you. And friends, before I request our respected past president and again the founding member of the ITF study circle as a study group as well as the conference, Shri Dilip J. Thakkar, we would have a small ceremony of lighting of the lamp, and then I will request Shri Dilip Bhai to address us. Thank you very much. May I now invite our past president and respected Sri Dilip J. Thakkar to bless us and inaugurate this conference.
Thank you, Mayur Bhai. My professional colleagues, I have been given a very pious task of inaugurating this 25th International Tax Conference. But before I do that, I wish to share some of my thoughts and experiences with my professional colleagues. As I stand before you, to address you. I go down memory lane more than 25 years back when young Mayur Nayak, now young Dr. Mayur Nayak, approached me and Rashmin Bhai with the idea of holding an international tax and finance conference under the aegis of Bombay Chartered Accountants Society. Rashmin Bhai immediately encouraged him. I supported him. But we had to face some headwinds. Some of the elders in the profession thought that this subject is of no use to chartered accountants and these people are wasting our time. Somehow we were lucky that they did not oppose it, so they did not encourage it. And our journey started the way Mayur Bhai has already described to you. As you all know, the reforms process was started by the government of India 30 years back in the year 1991, and the possibilities of attracting foreign investments into India on a much larger scale was seen as a very good possibility. At that time, we had the draconian law, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act, FERA in short, in force. Hence, it was a very uphill task to attract young chartered accountants to join this international taxation study group. However, as I told you, Rashmin Bhai encouraged the idea, I supported it, and the team worked very hard, and the annual event of ITF conference was born. For the last 25 years, it has gained overwhelming support and have found excellent faculty, which has attracted many to join the conference as participants. Now it is for every one of us to experience that vision has gained so much importance in our day-to-day practice and work schedule that we now feel that the need of international taxation in a very big scale. One classic example of retrospective amendment brought in the now infamous Finance Act 2012. You must have experienced, friends, that these days this withdrawal of retrospective amendment of 2012, which has affected in a very big way the foreign investment into India, is very much talked about. However, as you go back in history, in the year 2000, precisely in June 2000, FERA was replaced by FEMA, which is a much relaxed civil law. The country's foreign exchange reserves, which were about 1.5 billion US dollars in July of 1991, have now reached a record figure of 611 billion US dollars, which is considered to be an all-time high. This has led the Reserve Bank of India and the Government of India to relax regulations concerning foreign exchange controls and foreign investment into the country, which has had a very good effect on inviting foreign direct investment into the country. And as a result, and as a consequence, the need for understanding and learning international tax has increased to a very great extent. Friends, the recent withdrawal of retrospective taxation introduced in 2012 is a very important step forward, which will eventually result in increased FDI activities into our country and the consequence increase in work related to international taxation. Our Prime Minister has recently said that we have undid a mistake of the past by removing retrospective tax. It will increase trust between government and the industry. The Prime Minister further said that India's decision to abolish retrospective taxation shows the government's commitment to a stable investment regime and consistency of policy. Friends, encouraged by this step taken by the government, our industry is now requesting the government to withdraw other retrospective amendments relating to the treatment of slum sale, goodwill, etc. Friends, another classic example of retrospective amendment brought in the same infamous Finance Act 2012 relates to introduction of Section 149(1)(c) in the Income Tax Act, which gave powers to the department to reopen tax cases up to 16 years if any foreign asset or income which had escaped assessment is noticed by them. Friends, as a consequence of this, the unauthenticated stolen data of HSBC Private Bank, Geneva, in early 2011, many cases were reopened for 16 years because of this 2012 retrospective amendment. Government did not realize that neither the taxpayer nor the government nor the income tax department had preserved records for 16 years, as no law required the taxpayer to preserve this for such a long time. As it was bound to happen, the Honorable Delhi High Court has held in December 2018 that Section 149(1)(c) has no retrospective application, and the SLP of the department has been dismissed by Honorable Supreme Court on 5th July 2019. Even though this has now really become the law of the land, having been endorsed by the Supreme Court of India, the department is continuing to file appeals in Income Tax Appellate Tribunal against the orders of the Commissioner of Appeals, which are passed in favor of the SSC as a result of the Delhi High Court decision. Though our Finance Ministry claims to attempt to reduce the tax litigation, it has not stopped Income Tax Department from filing such frivolous appeals, which can be termed as in contempt of Delhi High Court and of course of Supreme Court of India. It is interesting to note that Finance Act 2021 has very silently deleted Section 149(1)(c) from the statute book, but it has not removed or reversed the retrospective effect of it. Till then, the taxpayers will continue to incur legal costs, and ITAT will waste its time on such frivolous litigation. Friends, you may be wondering, why am I talking about domestic retrospective tax? The reason is very simple, because it has had huge impact on the foreign direct investment into India, and as a result on international taxation in our country. Friends, along with the knowledge of international taxation, you must also have reasonable working knowledge of Foreign Exchange Management Act, FEMA in short, and DTAA. Let me share with you a small personal experience that the knowledge of these subjects has given to me and to many of my professional colleagues a lot of respect and prestige internationally. Friends, during the conference, you have the cream of professionals as faculty, and I'm sure you will gain a lot of knowledge at the end of the 4 days conference. Further, not as a perquisite, but as a precious gem to remember, you will listen to a talk by respected Sri Narayana Murthy, a doyen of IT industry in India and a co-founder of Infosys. With these few words, friends, I have immense pleasure in inaugurating this conference and making it open for you to study the subject. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, respected Dilip bhai. We have our guest joined, respected Sri Padma Vibhushan Narayana Murthy ji. I have an immense pleasure and joy in introducing our guest of honor, Mr. Narayana Murthy. Padma Vibhushan Narayana Murthy ji founded Infosys in 1981. The Infosys today is a highly innovative software services global company listed on New York Stock Exchange in the US and Bombay Stock Exchange with $14 billion in revenue and about $97 billion in market capitalization. In 2014, Mr. Murthy was ranked 13th among the CNBC's 25 global business leaders and listed among the 12 greatest entrepreneurs of our time by Fortune in 2012. He has received Login d'Honneur from France, CBE from Britain, and Padma Vibhushan from India. The Economist ranked him among the 10 most admired global business leaders in 2005. He is ranked among the top 10 of the Financial Times list of business pioneers in technology. Published in March 2015, he is the first Indian winner of Ernst & Young's World Entrepreneur of the Year award. He has won several awards and medals and associated with leading institutions of the world. Currently, he serves on the boards of the Institution of Advanced Study at Princeton, New Jersey, and the United Nations Foundation. He has served on the boards of Ford Foundation in New York, HSBC, and Unilever in London. He is a member of the advisory board of the University of Tokyo, EAACE Business Schools, IESE Business School Spain, then Fundco Dom Cabral FDC Brazil. He is also a member of the board of governors and trustees of the Asian Institute of Management, Manila. He has served as a member of the boards of various well-known universities in the US like Cornell, Wharton, Graduate School of Business at Stanford University, and the Rhodes Trust at Oxford. He was the chairman of the Indian Institute of Management, IIM Ahmedabad, the #1 business school in India, and the Public Health Foundation of India. He has also served on the international advisory boards of Yale University, University of Illinois, at Urbana-Champaign, William F. a Center for Global Leadership at the Turk School of Business, Singapore Management University, Asian Institute of Technology, Bangkok, the Indian School of Business, Hyderabad, and the Indian Institute of Information Technology, Bangalore. Friends, he has an illustrious, not only a career, but contribution, I would say, to the not only India, but all over the world. And he has been role model for many of us. With this brief introduction, I welcome sir, and I request sir to address us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sri Nayak, Sri Mathur, and others. Thank you, the organizers, for inviting me to participate in your deliberations. This is an important conference on finance and taxation. I must confess that I have neither the expertise of the professionals assembled here, nor their eloquence. The only reasons why I am here are your kindness and your affection. I have had the unique experience of working closely and being guided in your field by 4 extraordinary finance and accounting professionals. There is so much that I learned from them every day, in every discussion, in every argument, in every disagreement, in every dream, and in every despair. I refer to Sri Mohandas Pai, who is among the most innovative and eclectic thinkers. He is also one of the finest dreamers and articulators of this country. He is perhaps the person with the most eclectic expertise from architecture to annual reports. Next, I refer to Sri V. Balakrishnan, a committed, competent, and determined finance professional. I'm also proud to mention the name of Sri M.D. Ranganath, a top-ranking finance MBA from Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, who demonstrated his competence and integrity in a low-key but firm, effective, and pleasant manner. Finally, I have learned much from Sri Padam Kincha, whose words have always stood for me as the ultimate in professionalism, ethical behavior, soft touch, and conviviality. One thing I have learned from my 40 plus years of entrepreneurial experience is that the success of an organization depends on values. These values depend on the culture of the organization. This culture depends on the people and the environment of openness and excellence in the organization. I believe that culture is the most important attribute in today's post-globalization world with so many foreign institutional investors, foreign direct investors, and global venture capitalists operating in our country. I also believe that the accounting profession is most susceptible to cultural influence in an organization. Therefore, I will limit my talk today to culture and its impact on the accounting profession. I will speak about what I have learned from close interactions with your profession on the issue of creating and sustaining an ethical culture in an organization. Friends, today we live in a highly competitive environment. The best ideas from the best countries in the world are blowing across into our land and transforming our country. Our stock market valuations are highly leveraged by investments from the foreign institutional investors. Venture capitalists are pouring billions of dollars even in our early stage enterprises. Several companies financed by these VCs are going public in India. Technology has played a big role in how an enterprise performs, particularly in the finance function. However, as the French say, plus ça change, plus c'est la même chose. That translates to the more it changes, the more it remains the same in English. I refer to the lack of honesty, fairness, transparency, accountability, not paying legitimate taxes, not looking after the employees at the bottom of the pyramid in the company, and creating asymmetry of benefits in favor of management officers and against the shareholders. In other words, our culture has remained the same, even though our environment has changed a lot. What is culture? Culture includes what brings us joy, what makes us sad, who our friends are, what we respect, and what we despise, what excellence means to us, what brings us pride, and what brings us despair, how we spend our free time, and what our priorities in life are. Culture is a result of how our parents brought us up, who our early influences were, who our early teachers were and who our childhood role models were. Changing culture is perhaps the most difficult task for any corporation. Let us remember the words of Professor Peter Drucker that culture eats strategy for lunch. These words remind us how important culture is in general in a company and in the finance function in particular. Most recent scams and governance deficits have occurred in organizations whose leaders did not believe in the values of honesty, transparency, fairness, and accountability to its stakeholders. How do we change our culture for the better? It's not easy, but we can try. The most effective way is for us to focus on earning respect from the society rather than its owe for our wealth and power. This requires creating mechanisms to make respect the most sought after attribute amongst the corporate leaders. There are three levels at which cultural transformation can be attempted. First is, of course, the level of the economy. Industry association like yours, we want to produce a list of the most respected professionals every year. They may want to, or you may want to rank companies on respect rather than on market capitalization. It is a good idea to honor these most respected professionals at the annual meetings of the industry associations. Business schools may want to create cases on contemporary business situations that show how leaders who focused on respect made their companies strong and enduring. Second is the level of the company. Let me talk about how companies can attempt to make respect and good values important within a company. I believe that the best instrument for creating a culture of ethics in a company is leadership by example. This is what Mahatma Gandhi taught us the last century. It holds good today, tomorrow, and forever. Leaders, therefore, must lead by example, walk the talk, and practice the precept in good values. For example, if you as the leader want others to come to the office on time, it is best you come to the office ahead of others. Leaders, as you know, are watched by their followers and are imitated. Every employee will carefully observe your action and will follow it. After all, actions speak louder than your words. Leaders will not be seen in close quarters by everybody, since an organization may operate in different locations and not all levels of employees, even in one particular location, may have access to the leaders. So it is important to ensure that your leaders at lower levels follow your principles and practice leadership by example. They should also become your messengers of good values by telling stories of a leader like you practicing good values and the good that came out of it to the organization. It is also a good idea to create value champions in each department or each function and honor them at a suitable annual function of the company. This will be a good incentive for your employees to practice good values. Now let me come to the third level, that is the level of the individual. Let me come to the question of how each one of us can attempt to practice good values. None of us has been successful 100% of the time, and none of us will be. What is important is to keep at it as the asymptotic target. Once our mind is determined to practice good values, this determination will force us to reduce the number of transgressions committed by us month after month. There are two instruments to practice good values. The first is to follow the golden rule, that is, do unto others what you want them to do unto you. The second is to ask whether your child will be proud of your action if it appears on the front page of the Economic Times the next morning. If you have any doubt, please do not take that action. You may want to buy a Kindle book called Winners Do Not Cheat by John Huntsman, who was the chair of the board of the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania when I was a member of the board of overseers there. It is a book that will provide you guidance on resolving your ethical dilemmas. Somehow, the recent trend of several boards in India is to de-emphasize the importance of full transparency with shareholders. In these days of intense competition, corporate officers have just one instrument to earn the trust of the shareholders, and that is transparency. After all, let us remember the words of Justice Louis Brandeis, that sunlight is the best disinfectant. So if you embrace transparency, most of your problems will find solutions on their own. Culture is also a result of the kind of professionals that you surround yourself with. There are two attributes necessary for a successful professional, that is, competence and values. That is why I adopted the tagline, powered by intellect, driven by values, during my time at Infosys. Surround yourself with competent professionals who have pride in their professionalism. They will stand up to you and give you their opinion. That is absolutely correct, even if it is not palatable to you. One thing I valued most in Sri Mohandas Pai, Sri V. Balakrishnan, Sri M.D. Ranganath, and Sri Padam Kincha is their unfailing ability to be honest and open with me in calling a spade and not try to please me. These professionals that I mentioned strengthen my belief in the adage, let the good news take the stairs, but make sure that the bad news takes the elevator. So my friends, it is very important that you encourage your juniors to be frank and forthright with you in bringing out bad news to you. I believe you can create a culture of good values by evaluating and practicing some of the ideas I have spoken today. If you did, I have no doubt at all that you will earn the trust of every stakeholder of your company and you will prosper very well. My best wishes to you. Thank you very much.
Many, many thanks, sir, for your enlightening and enriching deliberation and talk on this very, very important subject of culture. May I now request CA Mahesh Nayak to propose a very well deserved vote of thanks to the sir.
Thank you, Mayur bhai. Friends, I'm sure you would all agree that we could not have asked for a better speaker to address the keynote session to celebrate this momentous occasion than Mr. Murthy. Thank you, sir, for a thought-provoking session on the role of culture in an organization, which is of paramount in today's world. Your speech has definitely left us enriched. We would like to also thank Mr. Murthy for agreeing to speak at such a short notice in spite of his hectic schedule. On behalf of BCAS and all participants, I would propose a hearty vote of thanks with a virtual applause.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.